Hey trainers, it's Alakaham here with some more Pokemon video magic, and in today's video I would like to showcase one of the evolutions with the new Community Day move, and that is going to be Sylveon with Psyshock. I think that Psyshock is a great addition for Sylveon because Charm, while doing a lot of damage as a fast move, takes a long time to build up energy. So having a more accessible charge move like Psyshock should be pretty good for Sylveon. So I powered one up into the Master League, and I am going to protect it with Melmetal using Thundershock, Superpower, and Rock Slide, and then my favorite Pokemon, MewTwo, with Psycho Cut, Psystrike, and Shadow Ball. So I had a lot of fun with this team, and we are just going to dive right into these battles, putting Sylveon on the lead, and we come up against a MewTwo. This is not particularly an ideal lead because MewTwo is going to resist the Psyshock Community Day move, and Sylveon is not going to be able to tank those attacks so well. I swapped into my own MewTwo because MewTwo is a decent counter to itself, but also I was just kind of hoping that they would switch out so that I could throw in the Melmetal against it later. They didn't do that. That's okay. They did bait me with Psystrike, so that's less okay. But I knew that they only built up to a Psystrike that time, so that was a little bit better, and I'm just going to start throwing Psystrikes as well. If they get rid of my Mewtwo, that's fine. Nope, it's not fine because I have full energy now, so I'm thinking I can probably get that shield back if I go ahead and farm down there. Okay, gonna throw the Shadow Ball for neutral damage against the big green dragon there. Pretty cool to see a shiny Dialga in the Master League already. I've caught one, but I haven't powered one up for Master League, so pretty neat, pretty neat. We had a great stroke of luck there because we were able to actually get to another Psystrike, and then they made a very good catch onto their Garchomp right before we threw the Superpower from our Melmetal. That's okay, because this is exactly what Sylveon is on the team for, to help deal with those pesky dragon types. So Sylveon is able to take out the Garchomp, and Melmetal will have no problem with the Dialga. So as cool as shiny Dialga is, we are going to watch it go down. Melmetal was there, it had fighting moves ready, and we are able to take the win. So that was a really fun battle, and we are just going to hop right into the next one, using the same team, same order. So this time, if we ever find an opponent, we have Sylveon into Excadrill. Another bad lead. Charm is going to be resisted, Psystrike is going to be, or Psyshock is going to be resisted. So our little Ferry friend is not going to be having a great time here. I'm going to tank one move because Sylveon is pretty tanky. It's bulky enough that it can take some damage and still be okay. Then I'm going to swap in the Mewtwo. Mewtwo is also bulky enough that it can take some damage, but this stupid Excadrill was loaded with energy. And so I had to use at least one shield there, but I figured we could outpace. And from this range, I think a Psystrike, even though it's resisted, should be able to KO. I guess they thought so too because they threw up a shield, and at this point I'm thinking they really want to keep this Excadrill in the game, so I'm going to go ahead and shield up, and we're going to Psystrike this thing down. So at this point we're in kind of a bad spot because everybody's out of shields, right? But I'm the only one who has a couple of damaged Pokemon, right? I mean, they're down one Pokemon, so there's that. But anyway, we're bringing in the Melmetal. The only way this Mewtwo is going to possibly be able to threaten us is if it has a Focus Blast. I didn't know what it was about to throw, and it was indeed a Focus Blast. So yeah, I decided to just use the Sylveon as a meat shield this time. Hey, I mean, I needed the Melmetal to deal with the Mewtwo, and I figured whatever else was in the back was going to be more vulnerable to like a onslaught of charge moves than it was going to be vulnerable to a couple of quick charms before the Sylveon went down. So they went ahead and quit because we were able to take out their Dragonite with those rock slides, and the Mewtwo was going to go down in a couple of Thunder Shocks. So again, pulling out the win. And, you know, I know this was a showcase for Sylveon, but sometimes you just need kind of a meat shield, right? Okay, finally we have a positive lead. Sylveon was going to do massive Fairy-type damage, super effective damage to that Yveltal. I love Yveltal, but what I love even more is seeing somebody else use one when I have a Fairy-type. So obviously the opponent wanted to get out of there. That made a lot of sense, and they bring in a Kyogre. And we're just gonna bring in our Mewtwo here because we're gonna outpace with Psystrike, and they were willing to give up both shields. I don't remember if I gave it up here. Yeah. So I was thinking I could probably get to the Psystrike, and from this range, I think that's gonna KO. Fingers crossed. And it does. Okay, so we are barely hanging on, but we have shield advantage, so that's the important thing. Now, I could have brought in Melmetal here, except for Melmetal, even though it can do super effective damage with Rock Slide, it's also possible that it could take either neutral or super effective damage, depending on what charge moves are on that Yveltal. So, Sylveon's looking pretty good. Sylveon is going to do great against Giratina, and it's going to do great against Yveltal. So I figured I would get that Psyshock out of there, then we would come in and let Melmetal get the Giratina as low as possible. And even if we lose the Melmetal, that's okay, because Sylveon should be able to farm down once we get the thing low. But we didn't have to. Melmetal was able to take care of that terrifying ghost dragon, and Yveltal was all there was left, so they decided to go ahead and quit that match because both of our remaining Pokemon were going to do super effective damage, and it was the threat of Sylveon that helped us keep our advantages throughout that game. So Sylveon doing really nice work there. All right, very neutral matchup here. We've got Ferry versus Ferry. So Sylveon, I think, is going to get to... Okay, I was thinking we would get to a charge move a little bit faster. I guess that's untrue. I figured that whatever they threw at us wasn't going to KO because it could only be like Aerial Ace or Ancient Power. So there's a difficulty in the matchup with Togekiss. By the way, this cannot be Flamethrower because it took too long, so I definitely made a mistake shielding there. What was I talking about? Oh, okay, so the Sylveon has a disadvantage there because Togekiss can reach a slightly higher CP, which is also going to mean that it has a little bit more health and things like that. So typically Sylveon is going to lose that matchup, but I didn't have anything else that, well, both of the other Pokemon, I guess, could have kind of handled Togekiss, but I didn't want to mess with it. I would rather just get it as low as possible and, yeah, with Sylveon, and then have an easier time without having to give up Switch later. So this worked out really nicely. They used up all of their shields on the Kyogre, and then we were able to land a super effective Shadow Ball on that Metagross, and we can aggressively swap into the Melmetal and deliver that Superpower attack for the win. So that's 4 of our matches. Things are looking pretty good so far. What's going to happen in match number 5? Here we go with game 5. Again, putting Sylveon on the lead. Looks like we were having trouble finding an opponent again, which has not been a rare occurrence. This past week, I could do a whole video just complaining about lag, complaining about time to find an opponent and all kinds of glitches, but I'm sure y'all already know all about those things. All right, so coming into this match, Sylveon has a positive matchup against the Dragon Time. That could be a fun segment for us to do. Up against the Dragon-type Latios, and they switch in their other dragon. This must be a really Dragon-type enthusiast person. Brings in the Dialga. So Dialga is going to have a rough time against Melmetal, but we ended up having to use a shield. That part is really not good. I actually think I made a mistake there. I should have let the Iron Head through. I was really worried that they had built up to Draco Meteor, which would have fainted out the Melmetal at that range, so I didn't really want to mess with that if I didn't have to. That does put us at a disadvantage, though. So Mewtwo can do okay against dragon types like Latios. You saw that we did a fair amount of damage with the Psystrike, and that puts it in farm down range for the Sylveon, so that's fine. And they bring in the Kyogre. We're definitely going to need to shield here because Kyogre is going to do a lot of damage. Surf isn't, a super strong charge move, but after you get hit with a Surf, those waterfall fast moves are really going to add up, especially with Stab. So this one really comes down to the wire, and we just narrowly lose. So the second thing I did wrong there was I was trying to go for a Rock Slide because in my head I was like, oh, I don't want to debuff myself, and I wasn't even thinking about the fact that shields were down. So I should have just hit the Superpower, which I had before they fainted out the Melmetal, and if I would have hit the Superpower, I think we probably would have won that last one. So the team is solid. That was user error at the end. Even so, we were able to pull a 4-1 out of this set, which was really nice. And I've got to tell you, I think it's worthwhile to invest in Sylveon for Master League. It's really fun, and you can add secondary charge moves, fairy type moves that would be stronger than Psyshock and would do more damage to things like Kyogre at the end there. So there's a lot of things that you can do with the Sylveon, and it's pretty cool. And hopefully I will show some other videos showcasing the evolutions with community moves very soon. If you enjoyed the content, please like the video. I would really appreciate it. And also, if you are not yet subscribed, please subscribe. It would be great to have you on the channel more, to hear from you in the comments, and we can keep building up our little Pokemon Go community together here. Until next time, trainers.